for a 5-year program. So just because it's 4th year doesn't mean.
And you're going to be on campus.
Yep, I'm going to be on IIT after the first 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
The first 2 weeks are online only.
Yeah, so it's on. We can talk to each other though. We don't.
Oh, okay, cool.
But if you can stand like right about there, that way it'll pick up the sound.
Right,
so,
sure.
So I'm Jeff. So what's your name?
Jeff. I'm Johnny.
Johnny. Okay. I'd shake hands, but
Yeah.
COVID.
That's fair circumstances.
Yeah. So So what's your initial reaction to that question? What do you think happens? Just after this life. Yeah. What do you think happens after this life?
I think we die. I don't think. I don't believe in there necessarily being an afterlife, which is weird because my first 15 years of me being alive, I was in a Catholic school.
Uh-huh.
I was in a Catholic school over in Indiana for my 8th grade year.
Yeah.
So it was this. I came upon this personal revelation somewhat recently.
Uh-huh.
Like probably 2nd year I got into college. I went to other people be like, oh, these people are thinking different things. Maybe I should take theirs.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily take theirs, but just
listen to their
have
point
a
of view.
mindset. Yeah, listen to their point of view.
Yeah. So, kind of going with what the traditional Catholic beliefs up until that time.
That's what I was raised to. Yeah, I was raised to believe that there was an afterlife, a heaven or hell, depending on how morally outstanding you are as a person.
Yeah.
But after that, I don't know. I guess it could just be a sign of the times. You can see good things happening to shitty people. So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe karma isn't necessarily a good standard for us to be setting ourselves to.
Yeah.
Just other people's own reactions towards you. Basically, what karma is.
Do you feel like karma is this idea that we're rewarded for our good behavior in this life, like while life goes on, or more a reward after this life? I guess karma would go either way, but so what would your idea about it be?
My idea of karma is it's a social currency, right? It's a social currency. So how you see someone else doing something good, you look at that person at a higher light than someone who just robbed the bank, right?
Yeah.
But that's for this life. Past it, one can make the argument that karma determines whether you're holy enough to be accepted into the good afterlife or not good enough.
Yeah. So that you don't know about yet.
I mean that.
Or is just like
that
this?
That really is the definition of faith, right? It's belief.
Yeah.
It's not proven in stone, and that can go either way of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I was always on the side of where, I mean, hey, like if there is an afterlife, then might as well be a good person. If there isn't, I'll still a good person. So it's kind of like just be a good person. It's not necessarily.
But the thing that would make you abandon your Catholic faith would be that karma doesn't seem to work. Would it be like Billy Joel's "Only the Good Die Young" kind of thing? You know, which I like the song, but you know.
Yeah, no, it's it's catchy. It's catchy.
It's a very catchy tune.
I don't know. It's
Now, okay. Would you say you believe in God or a higher power at this point? I'm just wondering if. So you believe that your soul just dies after your body dies, right? And that's it. But then does that also mean you don't believe in a God?
I would point that way. I would point that way.
Yeah.
Because, and again, that goes back to the argument I made. Like, there's been so many terrible things that have happened to so many people, and that could very well be because of the overarching insight of negativity that all humans have, right? So, a lot of bad things happen to a lot of good people.
Yeah.
And I guess that's my stance on it. Because if this God is just, then why are so many people suffering, like the Uyghurs in China? Why are they suffering right now? Because of their oppressive government. Why is racism still a thing nowadays? Like these people didn't do anything to deserve that. God loves everyone, right?
Yeah.
So
now, do you think would there be like an acceptable level of suffering?
Of suffering because
or like okay, like so like say let's say there's this good benevolent God, right?
Sure.
Who's all powerful and all good.
Mm-hmm.
So he can do something about the good that he believes in, right?
Right.
So they kind of both have to go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Could you believe in a God who's in charge of this world and the world is fairly good, but not completely good. Like there's some suffering going on.
Well, if I
See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I guess
if-
what
and-
I'm getting at is what's the limit, you know?
right, yeah, and no, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm very sketchy on my Old Testament, but wasn't original sin built into every human? So like there's always just innately a
Yeah.
bad part of every human, right? But it's,
Now I'm not Catholic, so
Oh, my bad. I apologize.
yeah, but I mean I know a little bit about Catholicism. I know a lot of Catholics have told me they believe that you're bad no matter what, you know. So it's almost like, well, let's blame Adam, you know, the original sinner. And and so then the thinking goes, why should I have to suffer for something this guy did so many years ago?
Yeah.
I guess as a Protestant, I think it's more typical to believe that yes, Adam sinned and he caused the fall of man away from God. You know, like we were living in a right relationship with God, and his sin, you know, basically it wasn't just like eating an apple, or a fruit. It was disobeying God and saying, I'm going to be God, I'm going to be in charge, you know, and so that kind of was a chain reaction. And so I think most thoughtful Protestants would say, if Adam hadn't done it, I think I would have. You know, like I see myself in Adam. You know,
just curiosity kills the cat, I guess.
Yeah, and anybody who asks, you know, or anyone who blames Adam for doing something bad and says, well, he did, you know, because he did it, now I'm a sinner and I can't do anything right. They've already sinned. If they're smart enough to know that, they've already sinned at some point.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So they're already guilty of their own sin.
Necessarily physical. It was,
Yeah, so by the time I could be smart enough to blame Adam for the things I've done wrong or my guilt, I'm already guilty of my own things. See what I'm saying?
Exactly, yeah.
And
It's a double-edged sword.
so we look at it as Adam gave us the tendency to sin, but we're punished actually for our own sins.
Exactly.
And one of the things that came about, according to the Bible, with Adam and Eve was that they were given the knowledge of good and evil, which is like a conscience.
Exactly.
And so the Bible says God put his law in our hearts, and so we know right from wrong, or at least we know there's someone to be accountable to, and yet we continue to do the wrong thing. And so well, this could be hard to concentrate.
And he got love. He got a different kind of love
Just talking to herself.
that I
Anyway,
never had in my life.
So I can't blame Adam because I would do it myself, and I do it myself, and I can't say I'd be punished for someone else's sin because I know right from wrong. Even if I've never heard the Ten Commandments or read the Bible, I already know right from wrong, you know, in a general sense.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't want to do all the talking though. I want to hear what you.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
So what was it in your second year of college that what happened? Do you think you said you had a revelation?
It was a revelation of just different ideologies. I'd say like when I was in Indiana, everyone was Catholic.
Oh, okay.
Like everyone. Like I'm from a small town where like we went to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
I actually went to church Mondays and Fridays too because I was in a school for that.
Oh,
so
okay.
3 days a week.
Yeah.
So when I got here, it was just kind of eye-opening seeing other people with other religions.
Yeah.
It's because if you see someone with another religion while you have one yourself, it's like, well, like one of us could be right, or one of us is wrong, or none of us can be right.
Yeah.
So like at the end of the day, it's just it's an ideology.
Yeah.
It's people are only represented by their background and by their upbringing. And I happened to be brought by a Christian family.
Yeah.
But in the second year of college, I met people in different religions. I met people with no religions at all.
Yeah. And people who are probably very good people morally.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I used to despise atheists when I was in Indiana because I was always taught to say that they were bad. Like, oh yeah, you don't believe in God?
Conniving and
that's stupid. Like just believe in God, you'll go to heaven.
Yeah.
But no, it isn't that simple.
Yeah.
So I guess it was just seeing the world through a different lens.
Yeah. First time that ever happened to me, I actually was on a short-term missions trip.
Really?
And
Where?
I went to Kenya.
Oh, wow, that's
and,
awesome.
And in Africa, I encountered like the morning prayer call of the local Muslims, and I drove through like by Cairo, Egypt, and saw like all these army soldiers, and just realizing they're all Muslim, and and then I actually went to Jerusalem too, and realized there's 3 holy days. Friday is Muslim, Saturday is Jewish, Sunday is Christian.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then each has
It's
their
not
own.
Sunday for everyone.
Oh no.
That's weird.
Yeah. So yeah, I would encourage you to study the different religions. Now, do you think, I don't know how much you know about different religions. Probably have you?
Very little.
Yeah.
Very little. It's shocking.
Yeah.
The echo chamber you can surround yourself in such a small town is impressive. To say the
Yeah.
least.
I would. I mean, it's kind of hard to like. It's kind of hard to like look at the different religions and think that they're see the things that are alike and the things that are different about them, without thinking that they're just kind of like some kind of like built-in response that we all have to worship or all have to have a religion, unless you actually do believe in God. And it sounds like you don't really believe in God.
I don't know.
Yeah. Was there a certain point where you decided that, or?
I didn't believe in God. I don't know. When I was relatively young, like first year of high school, I guess it's when it was implanted into my brain. My parents got divorced. I was just saying, why is all this bad stuff happening here right now?
Yeah.
There's got to be meaning for this. Like I used to pray every night for them before I get back together, and obviously nothing happened. So I don't know. I guess it's just.
How old were you?
Prayers unanswered. I was 14.
Okay.
So I guess his prayers unanswered.
Yeah.
Or to my knowledge, they very well have been answered. But
well, sounds like the answer was no.
Yeah, I guess the answer was no.
God, could you get my parents back together? No, I'm sorry, or whatever.
That ain't my job. And it was also meeting an atheist as well, who's actually one of my best friends now. I met him first year, and at first I was like, my parents were like, oh, you don't want to be around those atheists. They're going to take away your religion.
Yeah.
I guess they did.
Yeah.
So.
And that was your first year of college?
First year of college, yeah.
Okay.
But it was the second year where I actually started to follow what my friend followed.
Yeah. Yeah. And probably pretty good person.
No, he's an outstanding person.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He's nice.
Yeah.
Morally, he checks out. So.
Yeah. I'll just tell you, like, I've talked with a lot of people, and over the 10 years of having these kind of conversations on a regular basis, there's definitely a trend. More and more people are becoming atheists.
Really?
I don't know if that's true, like, across America, or if it's just that they become atheists and then they move away from their small town and they move to Chicago. And there's a lot of people that have moved here from small towns,
Yeah, exactly.
And so, you get away from your home church environment maybe, and then,
just see different things.
Yeah, become an atheist, or you move because you're an atheist, or whatever. But I have definitely seen some trends, towards, we call it secular mindset. Secular means not really believing in the eternal, believing everything is, the here and now is what's important, and there is no eternity,
Right.
That's, I don't know if you ever heard that word, secular.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have now.
Yeah. But of all the atheists I've met, I've never met one that didn't want to be a good person. I'm sure there are some out there, but I've never met one that was like,
because a bad person is subjective, right?
Yeah, well, there's that. Okay, so it's like, how do we determine what's good and what's bad? But all of them would say, usually at the end of the conversation or somewhere in there, I don't have to have the reward of heaven to be a good person or fear the threat of hell. I'm just a good person just by
association.
Just by being a good person, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
I've actually seen it on a billboard. Be good for goodness sake. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I know there's
actually like a National Atheist Association, and
really,
and and they're pushing atheism, you know,
Doesn't wear that.
and and they pay for billboards, and that's one of their slogans.
You said atheism is increasing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that as a religious person?
You know, so as a Christian, the more I talk to people, the more I realize. So actually this is true of every religion. People grow up in their religion, and they either don't question it, but then they don't even understand it. They don't understand their own religion.
That's a very good point.
Or they question it and they leave it, right? So, and it's usually about college age. You know, you get away from home.
Yeah.
You know, and so it hurts me to hear people saying, "Well, I'm a Christian, therefore," and then they say things that are not true about Christianity. and so there's a verse in the Bible where Jesus says, I would rather that you are cold or hot, but because you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out of my mouth." Okay? In other words, you're either cold towards me and you know it, and it's out there and no one's fooling anybody, or you're hot towards me, you're devoted to me, you know, to Jesus.
You're mixed.
But if you say you're devoted but you're not really, you're just kind of lukewarm, we can't work with that.
Yeah.
You know? So I do feel like it's important that people realize where they stand, rather than thinking they're something that they're not, you know?
That makes sense, yeah.
And so the other part of it is, when I became a Christian when I was 17,
Okay.
and it was like totally a God thing. It was like, when you talk about a revelation, it's like, revelation means something was revealed to me. You know, that's what revelation means. Who revealed it? Well, God did, you know, I believe. And so I don't think I became a Christian because I'm so smart, you know. I mean, I think it's good to be a Christian. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But it's not something I came up with. And so when I come across people that are atheists, or they're not Christian or whatever, I don't get discouraged, because I know that God's not through with them yet. That's what I feel like. It's like, you know, maybe God still has plans for that person.
Yeah, I have a lot of years ahead of me. I could come back.
Yeah.
I could come back, that's for sure.
Yeah. So
Maybe it's just a rough patch right now.
well, I mean, it's definitely a good time to question. You know, you're before, hopefully, I don't know if you want to have kids someday, but I'm actually a high school teacher. And I know that when parents are hypocritical, kids, especially high school kids, see right through that, you know? And so you don't want to be one of these parents that tells your kids, you know, maybe to believe in God, or obey me because I said so, or whatever, but you don't know why, you know? I would say this is a good time to be asking those hard questions and seeking some answers.
I might have been a victim to what you just explained. Not necessarily going away from it because of going away from its sake, going away from it because you didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Religion class was by far the most boring class. We just read a book all day. And it could have been because of my lack of attention span. Could have been because of a lot of other factors. But in the end, I just strayed away from it. While most of the people that are from my same friend group that have also spread out throughout Indiana have stayed with their religion.
They have.
So it's when I go back to my hometown, it's really just me.
Yeah.
That's why I really don't bring it up. No one really knows over there yet. But I'm in another state now. So this is fine.
Yeah. So but they're still, you can just tell they're still true to their beliefs. Because
like they still talk about how like what happened when they saw this and who when they went to church this one day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, which is absolutely fine. They're
actively involved.
It's their right to believe whoever they want.
Yeah.
I'm no judge for their morals.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I want to let me ask you. I want to respect your time, so I appreciate the time that you're giving.
Sure, no problem.
What is your understanding of Christianity? Like, what would you say is the basic message of it? You know,
going back to St. Mary's days.
Yeah, this is quiz time.
Understanding of Christianity was to believe in a higher power, and if you're generally a good person, you follow the 10 Commandments, then you will be rewarded for it. Which seemed like a fairly, that's surface level stuff. But on the spot, I really can't.
Oh yeah,
that was 10
that's
years.
what most people say. And
it's very surface level stuff.
so, and actually most people would say, like in a general form, might not be the 10 Commandments, but in a general form, all religion basically teaches that if you're good in this life, you'll be rewarded in the next. You know,
Exactly, yeah.
So it's kind of this.
It was definitely a moral guideline for me.
Yeah.
I can't deny that at all.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why I'm like good around other people is because of the rules that I was taught.
Yeah.
Not necessarily relating to the afterlife, but related
Right.
to how we treat each other.
Just what's the right thing to do.
Exactly. I stand by that. How
Yeah.
religion in general was the law before the law.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, getting back to the 10 Commandments, like even honor your father and mother. What's built in there is why honor them, because they're the authority over you. And if you learn to do that, then you're going to honor your teacher, and you're going to do your homework, and you're going to succeed in school.
Yeah, no,
and you're not going
it makes complete sense. Yeah.
not going to disrespect the police, you know, and on and on. You learn to respect authority, and then you learn to respect God. And so there's this connection there,
yeah.
you know. And so we learn these skills, you know, by obeying some of those moral standards. Most religions have morals, and I would, as a Christian reading the Bible, I would attribute that to the idea that God has put his law in our hearts. And so we all have this sense of right and wrong. And even atheists believe, well, if God does, if I died and there was a God for some reason, I don't think he would send me to hell because I didn't believe in him, but I think he would say I'm a pretty good person because I was good even though I didn't even believe in heaven.
Exactly.
You know, and so people are still worried, you know, or concerned about being good and being accountable, you know, whether they believe in God or not, or whether they believe in Christianity or Buddhism or Islam or any of the different religions.
Exactly.
There's this sense of wanting to be good. What Christianity says is, but who decides what's good? That's God's standard. You know, that's for God to decide. Where we would go wrong is we say, well, I want to be the one who decides what's good or bad. So if I want to eat from that tree, you know,
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. You know, even though there's all these other trees around, and God said eat from those. I want that one. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to justify it somehow. You know, it looks tasty. You know, I think I'm missing out. God wouldn't want me to miss out. You know,
Exactly.
And so we become the masters of excuses. You know, and rationalization and that sort of thing. Where bottom line, if God is God, he deserves for us to obey him. If he made us, if he made everything, he would have that kind of authority. You know, which is not something maybe our human nature wants to accept. So very quickly, so you know Jesus died on the cross, and you've heard Jesus died for our sins, I'm sure. What do you think is the connection there between this guy dying 2,000 years ago and us somehow being saved from our
Where's the connection
sins?
between it?
Yeah, like how do you think that works? Because that's the big question. That's actually like the key to Christianity is the cross. And if you can understand why Jesus died on the cross, even if you're not a Christian, you'll understand how Christianity is actually different than other religions. So
again, like surface level stuff. I don't really know why. I know he was accused by Pilate or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
The Stations of the Cross, had to do that every week or month. That was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, and you know he suffered. What do you think? I don't want to put words in your mouth. So what do you think was the purpose of it?
The purpose of it was, I guess to me, it was just to, I don't know, like show what happens when people like disrespect authority, I guess, which is essentially what Jesus did. Like he didn't. I mean, maybe he didn't do it, but I again, surface level stuff.
I'm catching you off guard.
He was put on there because he was not following orders from the government.
Yeah.
The
government definitely was mad at him.
I could be very wrong.
I mean, part of what he was doing was he was saying, "I'm the authority. Follow me." He actually said, "I'm the Son of God. I'm you know." And so the people were following Jesus, and the religious leaders at the time, they're called the Pharisees. and other Jewish leaders were jealous of his attention that he was getting and his authority that he was gaining, and so they coerced the Roman government to have him put to death. So, so it was a Jewish/Roman thing where they had him put to death. But some people, and actually this is very true of Catholics, I'll just say this, like I see trends, so you may be different. Many Catholics and many other people believe, well, Jesus set the ultimate example of humility. And so it's like, okay, you want to be a good person, follow the Ten Commandments and follow Jesus and allow yourself to be punished or, give your life in service of others or somehow. And so I'll make this quick, but that is very true. He set the ultimate example of humility.
Yeah.
But he also he actually, like his whole ministry, he was saying, I have to go to the cross. And his disciples were like, why? They couldn't figure out why he wanted to do this. He was like, he would say things like, it's, better if a man, if a man is willing to die for his friends, that's true love.
That is sort of form of humility, yeah.
And so he knew ahead of time he was going to die on this cross. Well, what happened was God knew, according to the Bible, that we are sinners, that we have gone our own way. God, being good, also believes in justice. There must be a punishment for the crime. So it's not just that God is loving, but God is also just. So God loves people, but he also loves justice. Justice means there must be a punishment for the crime. So if you can imagine God trying to be perfect in all his attributes, he's loving, he wants to love us, he wants to forgive us, he wants to let us go, But he also loves justice. There must be a punishment. How can God, being perfect in every way, he's kind of like caught between a rock and a hard place.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying God could be caught, but I'm just saying how could God be perfectly loving and perfectly just at the same time, given the fact that we're sinful people and we deserve to be punished for our sins? And so what God does is, as the judge, he says there must be a punishment for the crime. The punishment is death. And then he says, but as a person coming in human form, I will take that punishment for you. And so the punishment is there. Justice is still paid because Jesus suffered and died.
Yeah.
But God is also loving because he took, he sacrificed himself, or in the form of his son.
Yeah.
And
that
so
makes sense.
yeah. So all the other religions basically teach God is kind of loving, but kind of just. You sin, but you can somehow kind of pay for it yourself, and so, but there's still a price to be paid. So he's not completely loving because he's not free.
Right.
He's not completely just because we can kind of like pay it off, and so obviously I'm biased towards Christianity. I realize that, but all the other religions basically teach there's a way to kind of pay for a heaven or a wonderful afterlife with our behavior here on earth. And for me, what happened was I became a Christian, and it was like paid for. Like, I'm saved. I'm going to heaven.
Yeah.
I don't have to live the rest of my life trying to prove what a wonderful person I am in order to be saved and go to heaven.
Ultimately, the only person that matters is right up there.
God said, you're saved. You put your faith in Jesus. You're one of mine. And now I want to serve him, and I want to live for him, and I do want to be a good person, but not to try to prove anything, other than that I'm very thankful and grateful to God. It's a way of showing gratitude. So I feel the choice, if a person is religious at all, the choice is between a life of wondering if you've ever done enough, and kind of the drudgery of that, and like, oh, do I have to do another good thing, or a life. To me, it's like an adventure. Life is like an adventure. It's like, what can God, in what ways can I serve God today, and it's a life of gratitude rather than drudgery,
Sure.
So
I see that. Yeah.
So I do feel like Christianity is unique that way, and there's a lot of Christians who don't even get that.
I certainly didn't. So.
Yeah, like yourself. So
you would teach me more than my entire first 8 years have. Jeez.
So there's a lot of people who grew up Christian, but they have no idea that what all that means. So I just try to have these conversations and
you taught me.
People well, good. So I'll give you my my information.
Yeah, please do.
You can see it in a few days. It'll take me a while to get on there.
How often do you upload?
Huh?
How often do you upload?
Maybe a couple times a week on average. This summer it's been less because I've been so busy.
Yeah, sure.
Renovating my house and stuff like that.
That's good.
But I try to have these kind of conversations every day, and not everyone wants to be,
talkative.
Filmed.
Oh, okay.
So I still have the conversations. I just don't record them. But every so often, someone like yourself, allows me to.
Oh, I'm glad I can help.
That's the YouTube channel. That's my phone number. I would love to talk more. That's my church.
Awesome. That was actually pretty fun. I don't get this chance to talk about religion with any other people that are also Christians.
Yeah. Yeah, and
the ingredients that came in the land, even with all the hell
walked around the entire thing.
This is a comparison of all the different religions that are out there. So I think this is perfect for you because you haven't really checked them out.
You're right. I absolutely have.
And then it compares them to Christianity. So
awesome. Thank you so much.
I think you might like that. Maybe have some conversations with your international friends or at IIT.
That was really cool. Thank you so much. That's cool.
Yeah. So, and I